think of football rivalries, it's easy to assume that they're about football. One team beats the other, fans either gloat or rage, and the rivalry grows from there. But when you look a bit closer, many football rivalries actually reveal something much bigger about England and much less about football itself. In other words, many football rivalries started long before football did. In today's Hidden Patterns video, I'm looking into why local football rivalries started and how they relate to geography, industry, and local identity. Hello, I'm Amy. Welcome or welcome back. Today's video I am covering football, and I need to admit something to you. I don't really like football, but I'm very interested in the rivalries around football. So since the World Cup is starting, I thought why not dive deep into what caused the football rivalries that we see in England. And it surprises me how interesting it actually is. I've got many more videos coming with the Hidden Patterns theme, so if you're enjoying my Hidden Patterns videos, please hit the subscribe button. Now let's begin with geography. In modern day, England is connected by roads, buses and trains, which makes it easy to travel for work and leisure. But back in the day, travelling around England wasn't easy, especially for the working class. This meant that people worked, lived and socialised close to home. Towns and cities developed their own identities, accents, traditions and local pride. Neighbouring towns often competed with each other for trade and business. If two towns had a market, they were competing for customers. If they had industries, they were competing for investments and workers. That sense of competition already existed even before anyone knew what a football match was. When organised football became popular in the late 1800s, those local loyalties found a new outlet. The football pitch became a place where old rivalries could continue in a much friendlier way. You can see this pattern in many places across England. Take Derby and Nottingham, for instance. They're only about 15 miles apart, and like a lot of neighbouring towns and cities, they've each got a strong sense of identity. Long before football even existed, people were proud of where they came from and liked to think their place was the better one. When football arrived, it gave those local loyalties a pitch, a ball and something to argue about on a Saturday afternoon. Another hidden pattern is industry. Many football clubs were founded during the Industrial Revolution when towns were growing rapidly. Factories, mines, steelworks, railways and docks brought thousands of people together. Football became one of the main leisure activities for working people. Football was an accessible game for everyone. Workers, friends and children. In Sheffield, for example, the steel industry helped shape the city. Workers often had Saturday afternoons free, which helped football grow as a spectator sport. The city became home to one of the world's earliest football clubs and competitions. Football wasn't separate from industrial life, it was part of it. How are football rivalries and railways connected? When organised football started taking off in the late 1800s, England was in the middle of a railway boom. Before railways, travelling between towns was much slower and more expensive. A football club in one town might struggle to regularly play teams from another further away because simply getting there was a challenge. But railways changed everything. Suddenly teams could travel to other towns and cities much more easily. Fans could travel too. Clubs could arrange regular fixtures, leagues became practical and those rivalries had a chance to grow. In fact, many football clubs were founded around the same time that the railway network was spreading across the country. And there's another interesting thing. Railways didn't just connect people physically, they also connected local identities. A supporter from Derby could travel to Nottingham, a supporter from Sheffield could travel to Leeds. People could compare themselves and neighbouring towns more often than ever before. The railways made it easier to meet your rivals. In some ways, the better England became connected, the more aware people became of local differences. So while football rivalries might seem like they're all what happens on the pitch, part of the story actually begins with the Victorian engineers laying railway tracks across the country. Another pattern you'll see is neighbourhood identity. Over time, some clubs became closely linked to particular parts of a town or city. Sometimes they were associated with a certain workplace, certain communities, or even just one side of town. People were often much more connected to their local area compared to modern day, where we have access to the wide world through TV, social media, and travel. As the years went by, people started attaching stereotypes to different clubs. One might be seen as representing one side of the city, while another represented the other side. Some were seen as more working class, others a bit more middle class. Whether those stereotypes were actually true is another thing, but they became part of the football culture all the same. And once again, football wasn't creating these differences. It was simply reflecting the identities and loyalties that were already there. Your town wasn't just where you lived, it was who you were. Supporting a team became a way of expressing pride in your community, and that's why rivalries survive for generations. Children inherit these rivalries from parents and grandparents. The original reason might fade, but that sense of identity remains. Let's do some quick facts. The world's oldest football club is generally recognised as Sheffield FC. Founded in 1857, the first intercity football match took place between teams from Sheffield and Nottingham in the 1860s. Saturday afternoon football became popular partly because many workers finished work early on Saturdays during the late Victorian period. The oldest football competition in the world is the FA Cup, first played in 1871. Many football chants include references to local industries, landmarks, accents, and history rather than football itself. And that's what makes football rivalries so fascinating. They're not really stories about football, they're stories about geography, they're stories about industry, and most of all, they're stories about ordinary people and the places they call home. Thanks for watching today's video. Please hit subscribe if it's something that you're interested in more videos about. I will see you next time.